broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hey, you're listening to Ty Bollinger of CancerTruth.net. You're also listening to Justin and Kate with Extreme Health Radio. These guys are great. Enjoy listening to them. I always do.
Well, every time we start a show, I always like to give a weather report. How the weather is here in Southern California. And for some reason, I think today we're going to be outshined.
Do you? Because of our guest?
Our guest, Kari, is in Maui right now.
Yeah, she might one-up us.
I think she's going to one-up us here. Oh, man. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on this edition of Extreme Health Radio. Really honored that you are here today with us. And we've got a great show. We're going to be talking about holistic health insurance, if you can believe that. 2013, finally. This is something that's a huge deal, especially with Obamacare. We'll be talking all about all of these kinds of topics regarding health insurance, if you want to call the traditional model health insurance rather than sick insurance.
Right.
So thank you for joining us, and my name is Justin, and that is my wife, Kate.
Hello, everyone.
And we're broadcasting worldwide from Southern California in over 153 countries. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting. And if you'd like to follow what we're doing, we'd love to have you join us on Facebook. You can join the community and keep up to date with our shows and follow everything we have going on there. All you have to do is go to extremehealthradio.com/Facebook, and you can click the like button and follow us there. And today is what, Thursday or Monday?
November 25th.
November 25th.
2013.
And this is episode number 184. So if Kari mentions any links or anything, you can catch those on extremehealthradio.com/184. And there's many different ways to join the show. If you'd like to join us, we are now live, broadcasting live. So you can go to extremehealthradio.com/live, and you can join the chat room there and ask your question and listen live as the show's happening. Or you could send us a voicemail. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/voicemail, you can click the button there and record one right from your computer. Or you can send an email to justin@extremehealthradio.com.
Or kate@extremehealthradio.com.
And if you'd like to support our work during this holiday season or any time really, and you make purchases on Amazon, we'd love to have you do that. Many of you guys are buying your gifts from Amazon through our link, so it's really, really helpful to do that. We're so grateful for that. If you want to go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, you can click that link and bookmark it and use it every time you make a purchase, and that will help keep the shows free for everybody. And looks like, not tomorrow, Wednesday, we have Dr. Patrick Vickers. He's from the Gerson Treatment.com, and we'll be talking all about poop.
That's right. We will.
We'll be talking about coffee enemas and his work with cancer.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be a great show, Dr. Patrick Vickers. And then we have part 2 of our show series on sleep with Sidney Ross Singer. And I think he's in Hawaii too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Quite a few Hawaiians.
Yeah, I think he's in Maui, right?
I think he is Maui.
Yeah, Sidney Ross Singer. And we'll be talking about sleep. And we did part 1 with him, which was fascinating. So that'll be a great show with him, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of unique ideas relating to sleep.
Yeah, he's been a popular show because it's such an interesting... He just spins it in a whole new way, that's for sure. Yeah,
he's really, really good. But today we have Kari Gray and her website. This is really fascinating stuff. It's mygreensurance.com, and she's the CEO and founder of this really unique model of health insurance that I think is very, very fascinating. And she's put together this whole movement here at mygreensurance.com. So thank you, Kari, for being on the show today.
I think we
lost her.
Oh, no.
Let's see. Kari, I think we lost you. Are you there now? Nope.
Oh, no.
Skype's telling me there's a problem with the internet connection between you two. Hold on. while we try to get the call back.
You want me to sing and dance? Da-da-da.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about the connection problems. I'm not sure what happened to that.
Yeah, I don't either.
We were laughing that maybe the powers that be don't want this information out.
Oh, there might be something to that.
Yeah.
It happens at the strangest times.
It does happen at the strangest times. So were you able to catch the intro to the show?
Actually, I did not. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Reconnect with you.
No problem at all. So your website is mygreensurance.com. And is this a brand new thing that you're putting together now? Is it relatively new, or have you been working on this for a long time?
Well, it's kind of a yes-no answer, or maybe I'll say a yes answer, because actually the project itself I've been working on close to a year, but actually the journey that got to the project has been probably at least 20 plus years in the making. Uh-huh. So it's really been a long process, and it's actually a labor of love, I would say. So yeah, that would be my long answer.
It's fascinating. So how did you get started with this kind of model? I mean, first of all, how did you get started understanding really the benefits of alternative medicine to begin with?
Yeah, well, that's really kind of how this actually happened to begin with. Is, it's interesting how sometimes when a person has to face their own mortality, sometimes it's like you have to almost die in order to start living. Well, that's really kind of what happened to me. I was 27 years old. I had 3 little kids. I was a businesswoman. I was, very, very aggressive and very active in, business and whatnot. And I just simply went to the doctor one day for a physical, just kind of a normal thing. And, I didn't realize what was going to happen. In fact, it kind of like turned my life not only upside down, but nearly I ended up almost losing it. And what happened was I got my doctor to call me back in the office after the routine physical, very concerned, and then basically through very medical terms explained to me that not only did I have liver cancer, but I had no chance of surviving it because it was so advanced, and was told to basically go home and die, get my affairs together. So
did you have any symptoms before that, or no?
No, and that was the part. I mean, I just happened to go for a physical. I hadn't had one for many, many years, and I just thought, I probably should have one. And anyways, and so, yeah, there was no preparation to that whatsoever. So, and, I'm sure not the only person. I know a lot of people have similar stories that cancer will come out of it seemed like nowhere. Obviously, it had been a long time in the making, but I just didn't recognize it. But no, I was very healthy, and I had no symptoms of anything. So really what happened at that point was I first was devastated, and then I would look at my children and cry because obviously they were little and they didn't understand, and I didn't know how to stop what was going to happen, and I didn't want to leave them. So I really spent some soul-searching days, and then I just realized, first of all, that by going to the doctor, because I did go for a second opinion, as they say, and I realized that once that happened, that really having more bad news was not helping the situation, and so I decided to start being more proactive and really kind of doing leaving no stone unturned. So I just started researching. And when I started researching, well, lo and behold, I started to discover, and I really had no idea what it was at the time, alternative therapies. And, well, that led me to a practitioner who came highly recommended. And, well, for the 3rd time, she confirmed what the other 2 medical diagnosis was.
And so
I'm sorry, what did you say?
No. So at 27 years old, that's really, really an interesting thing to be able to have the wherewithal to search for alternative therapies in the midst of such a grave diagnosis like that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't take credit for it. I actually have to say that I was praying for some wisdom to know what to do, and that's really where it came to me that I needed to not just accept what I was told as the answer and to really start looking, And that's what I did. And so I went to this practitioner, and like I say, she had confirmed for the 3rd time. But for the first time, she really actually gave me a glimmer of hope. And she said, that, time was of the essence, that, because I was young, that there was a strong chance that I would recover if I was 100% dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I just decided I had nothing else to lose. The thing that she warned me, though, that I just couldn't hardly believe, but she was right again, which was, she said, it's going to be expensive and you're going to have to be very aggressive about this. She said, but it's not going to be covered by your health insurance. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, what? How can that be? I just didn't understand at the time. Well, sure enough, I paid for, pardon me, I paid for everything out of pocket. And then I took all those receipts and submitted it to my insurance company. And, well, just as she said, there was no coverage. In fact, it was denied. And, well, it was interesting, the letter that I got, because it stated that it was unproven treatment and that it was outside the coverage.
Okay.
So I just, I thought, wow, this is, I'm not going to be able to pay premiums in my grave, from my grave. I don't understand why, if I have no medical options, why they're not covering this. Mm-hmm. Well, years later, I came to understand what all really had happened.
It's interesting
anyways,
it's interesting when you finally come to the realization that this whole cancer thing is just a big business, really,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I spent 8 months, and I was really dedicated to wellness, and actually, have my whole family. It's kind of a life change. I mean, really, when a person goes from the mindset of doing what you want, and eating what you want, and living how you want, to really thinking about how those actions really have an adverse effect, it really changes not only your life and your lifestyle, but it changes all of those who, you live with. And that's really kind of the support network that you need. And so basically that's what our family did. We changed everything about the way we did things. And 8 months later, I happened to decide I needed to go to the doctor and just see if I was making any progress. Now, it was interesting. What happened at this point is when I went in, first of all, the doctor couldn't believe I was still alive, because she'd already given me the sure death diagnosis. Right. But what was worse was what I found out, which is, she ran the tests, and of course, then I spent another few days while I was waiting for those new tests to come back.
Hey,
Sure.
Kari, are you? Can you hear us still?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but can we try to call your landline? Can you send that to me through Skype, because you're really cutting out, and I think it has to do with the connection on Skype. So no big deal, but if we could just get your landline and perhaps call you that way, would that work for you?
Yeah. Let me make sure and get hooked up. Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So the doctor said that she was actually surprised that you're still alive, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that was kind of a surreal feeling, actually, to have someone surprise you're still alive. That didn't set well. But anyway, so I was. But the part that bothered me more than anything was just the fact that it was her attitude when I tried to explain to her why I was still alive and what I had been doing since she saw me last. And it was this. It was the palm in my face with, I don't want to know what you've been doing. And it really was perplexing. I thought, wait a minute, you're a healthcare professional? I'm defying the odds of what you just told me was going to happen to me, and you don't want to know. I mean, it just doesn't make good sense that, and this was years ago. I mean, I'm sure the medical community I know has come a long way in that closed-minded approach, but it really just told me a significant undercurrent, which is the fact that holistic or alternative healthcare has been viewed as really, in the medical community at least, has been viewed as a kind of a farce, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So anyway, she said, well, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know what you've been doing, as if like what I was doing was illegal. That's what it made me feel like. So anyway, she said, we're going to run new tests, So I was like, okay. And so she had me come back a few days later, which, I must say that I spent a few days had a lot of anxiety all over again. I didn't really know if the ball was going to drop again. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I took my chances. And, when she came in, she wouldn't even look at me. Now, this is really, if you can get this picture. So she walks in, she's got my chart. She will not make eye contact with me. And I start to kind of talk to her again about what I'd been doing, and she again, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to know what you've been doing. She says this to me again. And then finally, after we just sat there in silence for a while, she looks up and she says, again, I don't want to know what you've been doing, but I will tell you this. I saw what your charts look like, and I see what they look like now. And the liver does not do this by itself. So whatever you've been doing does work. You are cancer-free.
Oh my God!
Wow. Yeah, what a bomb, right?
Right.
I was like, what? I couldn't even believe it. But again, she still wouldn't even let me explain to her what I had been doing. So, it really kind of just at that moment, you know how you have those life-changing moments? Well, this definitely shifted my focus from going to the doctor and viewing the medical approach as the way to healthcare into starting to assume responsibility to get knowledge and information and to start making educated decisions about how to maintain my health.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, it was a life change. I mean, how many people get a second chance at life, right? So it's something that you never walk away from and forget, and it's something that will honestly change you in ways for the better. So, sometimes it's like you never start living until you actually almost start dying. And so really that's kind of the takeaway from all of this.
Wow.
And here's, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, when you walked away from that, were you more frustrated at the current medical paradigm, or were you thinking to yourself, okay, this is a huge opportunity for me to change things?
No, actually, no, not whatsoever. I was more disgusted with the medical approach to this closed-mindedness.
Uh-huh.
I was confused about the situation because, I'm very much of a solution kind of person. I like to find solutions to things. In fact, for many years, I called myself a problem resolution specialist because, that's what moms do, right? We're always fixing everybody's problems. So that was what I thought I was. Well, eventually, over time, I guess that's what I became. But basically, at this point, I really didn't know what to do. But the one thing that I knew that I was going to do was that I was going to find health insurance that gave me the health care treatment that I wanted. I thought that would be the thing I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Seems logical. I had health insurance, I paid premiums, and then I was paying thousands of dollars for my alternative care and terminal illness because, well, my health insurance didn't pay for that. So it would seem that would be the logical financial decision that, a business person would make. And this, again, is where the paradigm kind of came to the fore, which is not only did I recognize that the health insurance that I had perpetuates the problem when people don't get choices in their health care coverage, which obviously has only worsened over time, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Then you add to that that paradox is the fact that the health insurance, is really one of those things that it doesn't really promote health. It was like, this isn't healthy, especially when you're talking about terminal illness and you're talking about toxic treatment. That's really kind of all the things I really came to understand, what really happens in serious catastrophic illness, they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, so I spent decades literally searching for what I thought was a simple solution. I just wanted alternative treatment coverage. And, well, it doesn't exist. And every place I looked, everyone I spoke to, everybody that I would talk to in the circles of people that are into healthcare and healthy and healing and, holistic mindsets, I found the same frustration that I personally had, which is everybody would say to me when I would ask these questions, well, if you ever find it, please let me know, because I've been looking for it for years also. So, again, I still didn't recognize where this path was going to take me. But anyways, that's kind of how the history of where this came from. So just so you kind of get the background.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great place to take a break because I've got a ton of questions. So this is really good information. What a great thing to have someone who's starting a holistic healthcare model like this, having the background that you do. And this is just really, really good information. And I'm hoping that this takes fire and people start to wake up and notice and start to jump on board this thing. Because I think this model, I think it's going to happen one way or the other, and I think it's going to start becoming more and more popular. So
I think there's a need. There's a huge need, like Kari was saying. I mean, her illness has not been wasted, and so many other people are either in the same boat or just we're all aligning more in our journeys. So.
Yeah, excellent. So stay tuned. We got tons more questions with Kari Gray, and her website is mygreensurance.com. And this is really fascinating stuff, and we'll be right back right after this break. Kate and I have had our sauna for about a year now, I'd say, when we first got it from Phil Wilson. And it's an incredible machine. We use ours about every single day. Kate sits in about 20 minutes, and I sit in there about for a half hour. Usually watch a documentary, and it's extremely relaxing. It's really, really an incredible machine. And if you go to extremhealthradio.com/sauna, you can learn all about it. We did an entire hour interview with Phil Wilson. You can check that out. You can look at the pictures of us with it. You can watch videos on that page. It helps you to sleep really, really well. You can lose a lot of weight with it. You can burn, I think, around 600 calories in about 20 minutes or so. It improves your skin, increases circulation all over the body, and circulation is critical for your health. You can prevent and reverse diseases with it if you have a cold or flu. It's incredible. It heats you down to the core. It heats 4 to 6 inches inside your body, so it's really incredible. And a lot of people use it for cancer as well. So if you have any kind of incurable, quote, disease, you can use it for that. And Dr. Shade is the foremost authority on detoxification. And listen to what he says about it.
How do I detoxify from plastics? I mean, you guys are using a sauna, and what does a sauna do for us? A sauna is great. It's moving a number of different toxins. Remember, we talked about the mice that if you put PCBs in there, then that made the mercurial that much worse. And sweating moves out a lot of plastics, volatiles, fat-based toxins. It's really good at moving those out, sweating those out. So that's how you're getting those out, and those are contributing to this synergistic soup inside the body. And so that's why they're good, is they're taking out a bunch of the different things in the soup.
And Daniel Vitalis, one of our favorite guests. What do you have to say about the sauna?
When you go into the sauna, like a far infrared sauna like you discussed, your body goes into a deep relaxation mode, and your sympathetic nervous system shuts down and your parasympathetic nervous system turns on. And when that's active, that's the nervous system, part of your nervous system that's active when you meditate. That becomes active, and your detoxification pathways open up wide. Why is this important? It's important because when you go running and you sweat, you're not necessarily eliminating very much toxicity from your body. But when you sweat in the sauna, you eliminate a lot of toxicity from your body. So sweating in a relaxed state is how we eliminate. The other thing is that what's wonderful about the sauna is that it puts you in a parasympathetic nervous system response, like as if you were meditating. So it's almost a hack. It's like a trick to get yourself into a meditative, relaxed state, to decompress stress, to reverse the effects of stress, and to get your body eliminating deep, deep toxicity that's stored in your body fat, because it can come out in the oils of your skin. So I think, sauna is one of the most crucial detoxification, really health practices that we could take on, especially in this era of heavy toxicity, particularly fat-soluble toxins.
This sauna is really, really great. They offer payment plans, because if you buy it through PayPal, it's 100% secure. You don't even need a PayPal account. I think you could do a payment plan through PayPal. It's got low EMF electromagnetic fields coming off of it. It's portable, so that means you don't have to knock down a wall in your house. You can just move it from room to room. It sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes. It's super easy to clean. All you got to do is wipe it down when you're done and wipe the neck down. And it produces energy and heat inside very, very evenly throughout the whole machine. All you have to do is sit in there for about 15 minutes a day. And the great thing I like about it too is it requires zero preheating. So you turn it on and you're starting to get warm, and you're starting to detoxify with that far infrared light almost immediately. So it's really great. It comes with a 1-year warranty. It's about $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really, really a good deal, because if you look at most of the regular saunas out there, they are in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So this is really, really a good deal. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
Well, I'm a little bit out of breath there. I just got off the Bellicon and a little bit out of breath during the break.
Good for you, not a minute wasted.
Hopefully you guys are enjoying this show, and I just think it's going to be a huge thing for people to have this holistic healthcare. I think it's time, you know?
It's time.
It's time, and by the way, as far as the sauna goes, if you guys have any questions about it, or if you want to ask me anything you can about it, feel free. I'd love to answer any questions you have about that sauna. It's a really great machine. And don't forget, as the lady said, to follow us on Facebook. We'd love to have you join us on there and follow our shows and keep up to date with all of our amazing guests that we have on. And so don't forget to do that. And Kate, you were mentioning something about the health insurance and some of your clients, weren't you?
Yeah. Carrie, you're still there, by the way, right?
I am.
Oh, great. I know. We're so happy to have a good connection. I was thinking during the break, I'm a hairstylist, and I have had clients over the years that have had these, similar diagnoses, unfortunately, to what you had at the time. But the closest thing that I've seen to people being able to afford these alternative treatments, the ones that are even interested in it, is they have fundraisers and, try to get close to raising the amount of money that they need. And sometimes they fall short. Sometimes they get very blessed and are able to do that. But from what I've been checking out on your website, I kind of want to go over a little bit about what the model looks like, because it seems to be a very affordable thing and an option for people. And it's super exciting. Right. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, basically, when drawing from my own personal experience, I'll just go back to that just for a minute just to illustrate.
Yeah.
I happen to have a business that gave me the financial wherewithal to be ill while I am to be in treatment, and to pay for all of that at the same time, including, health insurance.
Mm.
Most people, statistically, though, because really the honest truth is, most people, as we know, it's a tough economy. A lot of people are just trying to survive right now.
Yeah.
And really what happens is that the first thing that a person loses is their ability to work. I mean, you think about it, especially, most people have some kind of a health decline, which is how they get these diagnoses to begin with. So it's been a progression of illness, and then all of a sudden, you've got the terminal diagnosis.
Right.
So the first thing that happens to people is that they lose their ability to make the same amount of money. Okay. Now, the paradox comes in is when people they first of all lose their ability to work. Now, if they have disability, sometimes you have it through work, right? Well, those usually take about 3 months to get. Okay, if you go to Social Security, that can take even months longer. Now, you see the problem, first of all, is that you've got all these months of no income, yet the bills don't stop when the income does, right?
Right.
So that's the first thing that sets people behind. Then you add to that this the fact that when people do get some kind of a disability income, it's reduced by a third. So the people that were barely surviving, maybe, or were surviving well, whichever. But anyways, the point is, when people are, living in according to the means that they have at the time, now that's reduced by a third. That's a significant impact. Now you have to add all of the costs for a holistic regime, which includes, and we all know that eating organically is more expensive. Eating cheap is always cheap, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you see where kind of how this mixture comes into play, and why really, and I spent many years as a financial consultant, so that's really, I'm going to step back now away from the story, and I'm just going to explain from a financial perspective why it's smart money. It's where, prevention is always worth a pound of cure, as the old saying goes, but prevention is actually what this coverage is all about. Because, again, let's go back to the statistics. The statistics say that of the people right now, of this generation, 1 in 3 will have a terminal illness in their life, okay? And 2 of the 3 who use conventional health care will not survive 5 years. So if you look at that in roulette, okay, roulette is a 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 chance, Russian roulette, okay?
Yeah.
So health care, which is the paradigm here, actually causes more deaths than lives it saves. And that's the reason why people are thinking and are looking and are realizing that there's got to be something better than what we have. And, we can get on that subject later.
Yeah.
But the point is, what this coverage is it's just like any kind of insurance. It's the coverage that you have in place so that if or when something tragic happens, you're not financially left destitute because one, and you guys know this, one situation always spirals into another. You can't have a health crisis and not have a compounding financial crisis. That's the way it works, right? So that's what the coverage is for. It's to help. It doesn't prevent the disease from happening, but it prevents the financial crisis from happening that only compounds the stress, which obviously we all know what stress does to a life that's already in jeopardy.
So I see on your website you have a lot of connections with like the Gerson Institute and the Budwig Protocol. Are you actively going around and communicating with other healing centers that you continually add to the coverage?
Well, actually, that's a great question, and the answer is that right now we are just been working on the preliminaries of getting all of our of our I's dotted and our T's crossed on the coverage. So really, we haven't reached out to anyone yet just to let them know that this is available. But that's a great question, and so hopefully it's going to be radio shows like this that's going to help people to be proactive with their health and to realize that you can't wait until it's too late. It's like you don't call your car insurance after you have an accident. So, it's not that we can help people that already have a terminal disease, but we can help people that tomorrow will have one who today are still healthy.
I see. Okay, so if someone, so the idea is that if someone is healthy today and they end up getting a disease in the next couple months, and they're active with you today on their plan, they would go to a place like Gerson, and they would be able to have the coverage for that through Greensurance. Is that kind of the model?
That's the model. You got it right.
Wow. And so people will be able to pick from a various different healing modalities then.
Right.
And so what if people... I'm sorry, what if people wanted to maybe do some things on their own? Like what if they didn't want to go anywhere, but they knew they wanted to do some emotional clearing, or they wanted to do their own colon hydrotherapy sessions or something like that? Is this does this work for them as well, or how does that work?
Well, actually, if you notice, the tagline for our company is, we call this the voice for choice. Okay? So choice is really what this is all about, and choice is actually very empowering when you think about it. That's the one thing that people haven't gotten in standard health care, but that's the one thing that this coverage enables a person to do. So the information on the website really kind of goes into detail, and there's actually a page, and it's, I don't know, might be 10, 15, 20 pages long, and it's called Alternative Choice. And really it just helps the person to realize, and it does not exhaust all the options that are available, because when you're talking about alternative treatments, you can do anything from the clinic approach to the in-home approach. And yes, the coverage will include all of those. And basically what we do is there will be, once a person is enrolled with the coverage, then, and once they have a medical diagnosis, that activates actually the coverage. And basically what happens is they receive a Visa card that's like a prepaid Visa card. And so every purchase that they choose to make, or every, treatment or whoever they want to see, or whatever device they need, whether it might be a Huron press or, it could be anything, right? But the point is that those are all pre-approved. So a person simply lets us know what it is that they want in the way of a purchase. We put that amount of coverage on the card, and then they make those transactions. So, anything that they need, that's what this is about.
Wow, it's kind of it's a different model. So there's none of this 80-20 stuff that you typically have with health insurance. Is that part of this or not?
I know, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
So it's the no deductible and no copay coverage. It's 100% coverage. And yeah, there's a lot to it, but yeah, you're starting to get the picture now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really unbelievable. That's pretty amazing.
What happens if people kind of getting off the chronic disease, like if someone has cancer or something like that? What happens if someone only has this model and they end up breaking their arm in a car crash or falling off a bike and that kind of thing?
Right. That's a great question. And actually, no. See, the coverage doesn't cover trauma.
Okay.
So a person, if they want insurance for trauma, they have to get a separate kind of policy. We don't do any kind of trauma coverage.
Well, that would make sense because, why compete with a model that really does work? Because the medical model is great for trauma.
Sure.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, trauma medicine is the bomb. I mean, really. I mean, what has been done in the advances of trauma medicine, my hat is off to anybody that does trauma medicine. I mean, it's wonderful. But it's this terminal disease segment of the healthcare industry that really is kind of like, the redheaded stepchild. I mean, it's the model that's really, it needs to be dealt with differently. And that's really what, alternative treatment is all about.
It's so interesting because, we were watching stuff recently and listening to things. And, I mean, people really do have better results not doing anything, don't they? Instead of doing chemotherapy or radiation and these kind of things, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're talking about taking a toxic treatment and you're treating a toxic disease.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much can the immune system take? I mean, that's the reason why more people lose their life from the treatment, AKA the old adage, if the cause don't kill you, the cure will. Well, while we say that, that's really a sad reality, and it's something that because people are kept in a very intimidated state, which is why knowledge is power, right?
Right.
So because people have been kept in this state of ignorance, I mean, it's not really, we're not ignorant, but that's just where we've been kept, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the medical community. It's a big business, and it's a very, very profitable big business. And it's been designed as a system. We call it the healthcare system. But if you step back and look at it, that it is a system, and it's a system designed to exploit financial gain in the treatment of when a person is nearly the most vulnerable they are. I mean, really, when you think about it, it's really wrong. I mean, it's kind of like a violation of everything. We would never think of taking financial advantage of someone who was sick. Mm-hmm. But yet that's what the healthcare system is doing. It's exploiting people, and it keeps them in a place, it tries to keep them in a place of symptom chasing in order to keep, the coffers full.
Yeah, they're trying to really apply the catastrophic model to chronic long-term degenerative diseases, and they're coming up with all kinds of fake markers like cholesterol markers, and they're trying to develop these drugs to synthetically control these markers. And as a result, I mean, you have even more problems for people taking medication as a result of their, quote, high cholesterol. But this whole chronic degenerative disease thing, really, from your perspective, from the green insurance idea, would be, I mean, more solution oriented rather than just getting rid of your symptoms.
Right, absolutely. It's about being responsible with the choices that you put in your mouth. Really, I mean, that's what it's coming down to, isn't it? Because food is the most powerful drug that we all consume, and every day, everything we eat, we have a choice to wellness.
Yeah.
But, there still is a chance, even when a person, and that's what the coverage is so great about, because sometimes people say, well, my insurance is I shop at Whole Foods, or, my insurance is I shop at the farmer's market. Well, that's wonderful, and it's a model I follow myself. I eat organic. Almost every single thing I put in my mouth, I try diligently to be organic in all my choices. However, no matter how careful a person is, the world that we live in is toxic, and we all know it, right? Mm-hmm. So there is no guarantee that even eating eating organically can prevent disease from happening.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why having a backup plan And that's really what we're talking about. Having a backup plan with the holistic coverage ensures that even though you tried your best to do and eat right and live clean and, made all those right choices, that even when something does happen, at least you have now the coverage that supports your choice in health care.
I love
and
it.
That's really what we're talking about. We're talking about, a symbiotic relationship of living clean and now having the health care that supports clean living and clean lifestyles.
Well, it's a fantastic model. I'm going to ask a question that I'm sure a lot of our listeners will want to know. Is this a global option for people, or is this only a North America, United States type situation?
Yeah, you're going to love the answer, okay? The answer is you can go anywhere in the United States or anywhere across the globe.
Oh.
And that is what the coverage offers. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, that's a great thing.
Yeah, so if a person like the Gerson, they're in Tijuana, or the Hoxie, they're in Tijuana. You've got Dr. Simoncini. He was in Italy. I'm not sure where he's going to be now, but and you've got the Budwig Clinic, and it's insane. So there you go. It's global coverage and opens all the doors to the right to make a choice.
Now, can people from any country sign up as well, or is this U.S.?
Yeah, now that's a great question. And currently, right now, the model is just for U.S. citizens.
Okay.
But we actually are looking at how to scale this so that anybody from any country can actually use the coverage. But we don't have that. It's like there's a lot of need in the United States for health care because we've got this ACA,
right,
the Obamacare plan, right? So the United States actually is the one who needs the coverage more than anybody at this point. And so that's why our focus right now is the U.S. market, but we're actually trying to figure out how to scale it globally, yes.
Wow.
Okay, well, this is good stuff. I want to talk to you about the Obamacare thing right after the break. We are with Kari Gray and her website. This is really, really interesting stuff, and I'm sure you're interested in this. It's mygreensurance.com, and we're going to be right back with Kari right after this break.
Would you like to feel more energy and a better sense of well-being? What's flowing through your blood makes all the difference. In my 22 years of nutritional practice, I've found that the food and supplements taken into the body determines to a large degree the amount of energy and happiness people have. One giant step in the direction of more energy and happiness is the type and quantity of protein you consume. 2 years ago, I was introduced to a whey protein powder that gave me more energy and a better sense of well-being. Having struggled with low energy, this was a welcome experience. This protein is called One World Whey. It is the first ever undamaged whey protein powder from grass-fed cows. People report the following: profound improvements in blood sugar and energy, elimination of pain, better bowel movements, detoxification, younger-looking skin and fat loss. Athletes love the strength and endurance-producing effects. Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldwhey.com. That's oneworldwhey.com.
And in my opinion, this is the best raw grass-fed protein powder on the market. It's developed on Amish farms. It's got 25 grams of protein in each single scoop. Crazy amount of protein. Increases your glutathione levels. It helps to release heavy metals and toxins, decreases inflammation all throughout the body, especially in the gut. And not only that, but it helps you build muscle and increase energy as well. It has tons of anti-aging properties. So really, really great protein powder. We like to use it every day in our smoothies. And our resident cancer guru, Ty Bollinger, what do you think about One World Whey?
Over the commercial there, you're talking about One World Whey. I want to encourage anybody that's listening, go to their website, go to Justin and Kate's website, and buy the One World Whey. That's something that we include every day in our diet. Every lunch, we have a One World Whey smoothie with super greens mixed in with it. It is fantastic. It's the best protein you're going to get. And as they mentioned, it's from grass-fed cows. It's organic. It's cold pressed. I mean, it is. You're going to get huge nutritive values from this One World Whey. It's the best protein on the market, I think. So, then that's something that most people are deficient in is quality protein. So I highly recommend you go there and go to their website and buy this stuff. It's the best that's on the market. And I'm good friends with Stephen Hewer, who is the owner of Synergistic Nutrition, and he's a quality guy, and they have excellent customer service as well.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. We interviewed him on episode 88, and he's just an amazing guy, and I really love what he's doing. That's why I love supporting his work and love taking his products as well.
Yeah, great stuff.
And if you'd like to support Extreme Health Radio and the work that Kate and I do, you can get your hands on this One World Whey protein powder that I love so much. at extremehealthradio.com/way. That's WHEY. Or you could check it out in our store as well. That's extremehealthradio.com/way.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
All right, we're having a great time here with Kari Gray from mygreeninsurance.com. Make sure to check out that website and look for some changes coming in 2014 with that. And Kari, I wanted to ask you, during the break Kate and I were talking about, is this insurance currently live, or is it still building up to a launch?
Yeah, basically, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Actually, what we have is kind of a phase 1, phase 2.
Okay.
Actually, Green Insurance is going to be a coverage that's actually available only to the Green Insurance member community. So it's a buying club, so basically that will host the membership, or excuse me, will host the coverage.
Okay.
So right now we're in a membership drive. Okay, and when we reach 30,000 members, then we launch the coverage. Okay, so
does it cost anything to become a member?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
And you have to understand, kind of like many other buying clubs, like a Costco or an Amazon buying club.
Uh-huh.
Basically, what the buying club does, what the buying club model creates, is it creates the way for a company to prevent having to go to deep pocket investors to. Then, and in our model, what we're trying to do is we want to make sure that this coverage is always about people. So by putting the community, by creating a community that will love and support and embrace and be passionate, and we know that they're out there that want this kind of coverage, that community is going to make sure by this membership that we all defer the cost of what it actually is going to, is going to incur to get the coverage live. And that's the reason why we've got a target of 30,000 members initially. Obviously, we expect to grow into the millions, but the initial coverage, or excuse me, the initial launch, okay, is 30,000 members to get the products off the ground.
Okay.
And once we reach that community drive, then sometime in 2014, and obviously, it could be January 1st, we reach 30,000 members by December 31st. So it will be ready to go live at that point, yes.
Okay, so people can sign up now and to be a member.
Right. So the membership is now, and that's what, basically when you go to the website, you'll be able to see that you can become a member. And that's what they'll basically do. And there's actually a couple of different membership models that a person can choose also. Okay,
excellent. And I know a question a lot of people are wondering is this Obamacare compliant? We all know and have heard lots about the Obamacare thing. So is this compliant with that?
Obamacare has been kind of like a Band-Aid on gangrene. I mean, that's what I look at it as, because we've already got a healthcare system that's grotesquely overpriced, and that is the number one cause of bankruptcy, right? And now people, 47 million people are uninsured for whatever reason, right? And now those 47 million people are being forced to buy healthcare coverage. And because this is insurance, yes, it is Obamacare compliant. So basically what this is the coverage for people who say, I don't want healthcare, standard healthcare, but I want health insurance. And that's what this coverage is for. So if your choice in catastrophic illness is alternative, then this is your coverage. Okay, so this is good. So this will work for that. That's great.
That is that's well put.
So now if people are wanting to sign up for this, they can go onto the website and click the Enroll Now button, and they can sign up for one of a couple different models. What are the differences between the two models that you talked about?
Okay, well, that's a great question, and the answer is very simple. So you've got a basic membership, and what the basic membership does is you pay an annual fee, okay, and that gets you on the list to buy the coverage once we make the coverage live.
Okay.
The other model is for people who are excited and who recognize that this is significant. Then there's a platinum membership, and the platinum membership has a lot of benefits. And one of them is that there is an advertising model. So basically, we make you part of the company. And for anybody who wants to recommend Greensurance, then what we do is when you become a platinum member, then you get part of the advertising credit back. And that advertising credit can pay for your premiums. It can pay for the cost of your membership. It can pay for, we're going to create a store or a merchant, like a marketplace. So it can pay for the things that will be in there also. So really, it's kind of an amazing ability for people to leverage what they do for businesses that they love and are passionate about anyways. Mm-hmm. And it just gives that extra wow, right, to, making something like really rewarded all the way around. So it's really, it's positive energy in every direction.
So now I see you also have the Greensurance Platinum membership for a little bit more, and what is that about?
Yeah, well, the Platinum membership actually, what it does is it opens the door to, as the basic does, to the coverage. Mm-hmm. It opens the door to the community because we're going to have a forum that's going to be there, so everybody can kind of network and connect and whatnot. It'll have a marketplace so that, there'll be tested things that we're going to be testing. So anybody that wants to be part of the marketplace that has a product, we'll invite them to send it to us, and we'll test them, and then those will be the things that we put in the marketplace. And then the other side of that is going to be the advertiser model. So, for instance, a platinum member who recommends coverage to other people who decide to become platinum members, $25 for every platinum member that enrolls who sent you as their referred.
Interesting. So Blue Cross doesn't send me a check for $25 for people I recommend to them, do they?
Right. Exactly. Wow. That's what I'm saying. You think about the businesses that you refer all the time, and nobody says anything but maybe a thank you. But this is a great thank you. Okay, this is about you. Thank you.
So you're going to have a store here as well that's going to be filled with what's going to be in there? Different holistic things for people to help get healthier, or?
Yeah, it'll be actually a number of things, and it could be anywhere from healthcare or like skincare products that maybe are very organic, right? Mm-hmm. To soaps and lotions that are chemical free that people are making out of oils and all those simple things. To any kind of supplements that are of a superior grade and quality to products. Things like blenders and mixers and juicers and all the apparatuses, the colonics. Whatever a person needs. Those are going to be, like I say, first we test them to make sure that they are not just hype, but they are what they say they are. And then once they pass our testing, then we put them in the market.
So can people tell, like, if they have access to like the Gerson Therapy, or let's say they're friends with people that work at the Budwig Protocol or different modalities and different healing centers like that, can people encourage those centers to sign up with you guys, or how do they contact you, the actual holistic healing centers themselves? How do they contact you?
Well, actually, yeah, that's a great question. And on the website, there's actually a link, and it's called Partners. Mm-hmm. So any kind of a clinic or a practitioner or a retailer or a wholesaler, really the gamut is wide open, okay, for a business who wants to promote the holistic coverage. So, yeah, there's a partner page, and we encourage businesses to sign up there.
Interesting. Okay, so now I also have just wondering about kind of different subject matter, but like if someone wants to go get some blood tests, let's say they're enrolled with you guys, and let's say they don't have any health insurance, traditional health insurance, and they want to go get some blood tests just to see what their B12 levels are and their calcium levels, all these kinds of things. How does that work? How would that work for someone? Would that be covered or not?
Well, that's a great question. Well, basically, again, if we're talking about, and really this is kind of where the pre-approval process, if you remember I mentioned that every choice that a person makes has to be pre-approved, and that will be taken on an individual. You know, we look at every request for treatment or coverage or whatever, and that will be looked at a per diem basis, or in other words, as needed. You know, each individual, because like I say, you've got so many choices that you know, not everything will be covered as far as, you know, if a person wants to take their coverage and go use it for chemo, well, it wouldn't be covered because that's what standard healthcare will do. I see. Not everything's going to be covered, but anything in the organic, holistic, alternative genre, and then of course, you know, there's obviously some testing that needs done, and that will be a decision that, like I said, will be done on a per request basis. So yeah, if it's part of what they need for, you know, like when I had to have my follow-up test done, yeah, absolutely, those things can be included.
Okay, and that's good. And so what about people, women, let's say they're holistic minded and they're kind of into this lifestyle like we all are, and they want to have a baby, and they want to have a baby at home, or they want to have a baby through a doula, something like that. How does that work? Does this impact that at all?
Well, that's great. That's a great question. And actually, what activates the coverage is terminal illness. So if a person is diagnosed with a terminal illness while they're pregnant, well, you know, obviously, then that would be part of the coverage. But if it's just under, you know, like a standard health care issues of, you know, it cannot, you know, there's so many ways to have children. But, no, that would not be part of the coverage, because this is catastrophic coverage, okay? And once you understand that it's only for catastrophic illness, I mean, it's what the big things in life, the big life-altering things are about, okay? But it's not about, like, you know, I want to go to the chiropractor to get my back adjusted. It's not that kind of coverage. Because, see, again, that's what standard healthcare will provide. It'll give you some of those. But this is the coverage that all the things that standard healthcare doesn't provide, that's what this provides.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
We're so used to asking all these questions of like, is this, is that? Because that's all we've ever known. It's so funny. I haven't quite made that shift in my brain.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's okay. And that's...
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're thinking, okay, you know, it's not necessarily...
We've got to get educated on and understand, you know, this is what standard healthcare provides, but it's all those things that standard healthcare has not provided that for decades people have wanted coverage for. That's what green insurance is about.
I see. Wow. So
amazing.
The initial goal is to roll this out in a couple different phases in 2014 and to get 30,000 members signed up, and that will activate the actual product itself.
Right. That's what launches the coverage. So basically, once we get the membership drive, and you have to understand, you know, there's 47 million people that have no insurance. We have no idea of knowing who wants this kind of coverage. That's what the membership does, is it puts you on the list to get the coverage, okay? Right. And so basically all of our agents then will contact, once we reach the membership, they'll contact people at the time and the date and the place, whatever, however they want reached. And then, you know, we go through the enrollment process. And that's how it'll work.
And Kari, I was reading on the website earlier about those over age 65, I believe.
Yes.
So there is not an option for them at this point, but hopefully in the future, is that something you're trying to roll out as well?
Yeah, actually, that is going to be a totally separate coverage, because actually the green insurance portion of this, or what we call the green coverage, this actually is five coverages in one. And when you look at the website, you'll kind of like, again, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around, but that's what it is. It's 5 coverages in one. Now, we're creating what's called a green senior product, and that will be for people 62 and over, okay? That will be basically a different kind of coverage. It'll still be holistic, but it's more along the line of what we're offering for children, which is, you know, people that are, we'll call them the bread earners or the caretakers of the family. They have different needs than children have and seniors have. And the reason why I say it like that is because though everyone can use holistic coverage, not everyone has the same financial needs, okay? And that is what the green coverage or the green insurance portion provides. And when you read the website, you'll understand, because it not only includes the recovery or the green coverage portion, okay, which buys the health care, but it includes a financial model so that when the health crisis happens, the financial crisis doesn't also happen.
Right.
Okay?
I love
And
it.
children and seniors don't need that.
Right,
and that's the reason why it's a totally different product and it will be priced totally different. So,
Right.
yes, it's in development. We're just not there yet.
Wow, I can see how this would just take so much time and legwork to get this thing going. And
Yeah.
so I see there's also a list of what qualifies people, and people can go on that and see if they would be excluded from your insurance plans, right?
That's correct. Right. We can't insure everyone and keep the rates where they are.
Right.
Right.
So that's that's why we call it healthy people coverage.
I like
So
it.
it's for healthy people who want coverage before something happens. And that's who our market is.
Right. And I guess another question that just popped up into my mind is there any sort of with our insurance that we had recently, there was no limit to our monthly premium being raised. Is there any kind of guarantee that it'll stay around the same price for people, or is there no way to even know that?
That's what is almost mind-blowing, and it sounds too good to be true, and I'm so glad you asked. But basically the answer is this. At the age in which a person buys the policy, the rates will never increase. That's the answer.
Okay, so the
Wow.
rates are based.
I know, that's hard to believe.
So
No,
the rates are
age is-
based on age, kind of, and then so as
Yeah.
long as they're a member, it will never go up from there.
That's right. The age you are that you buy the coverage, you're locked in at that rate. And the only thing that will change that is two things. One is if you add more coverage, that increases your rate. And two is if you allow your coverage to lapse, then you have to requalify, which changes your, what they call attained age or your new age. So,
Okay.
yeah.
What if you let your coverage lapse for a few months? Would that matter in terms of the rate changing?
Well, the only way that a person can reinstate their coverage that they've allowed to lapse would be to pay all their back premium.
I see.
And, a lot of times that's something that people just can't do, so they have to start all over.
I
Right.
see. Okay.
This is just amazing
This is
option. I
amazing.
cannot believe it.
So, Kari, do you see a huge change? Do you see other people in the marketplace doing what you're doing? Or are you guys the only people doing this?
Well, the answer is I have the honor, I will say, of taking a life experience, nearly losing my life, becoming an insurance professional years later, realizing that through my life experience of searching for this kind of coverage and it was never available, that when I became an insurance professional and I realized how to do this, was I able then to create a patent, which is now pending. And so, Green Insurance is the only one who does this. So it's really quite an ominous privilege to be able to, take something that you would see no association at the time and then later on realize, wow, that really was a life lesson that really is my ability now to take and pay it forward and help other people help themselves.
Oh, this is
Wow.
amazing.
There was definitely a bigger plan for you, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, Kari, one last thing. I just want to kind of run through this in my own head, and maybe some of our listeners are thinking this to themselves. So let's just run through before we go one final thing with people if they're diagnosed with something. Let's say you're locked in, and we'll just do a test scenario here. You're locked in, you're 35 years old, you're 40 years old, whatever your premium is, you're paying it. You're diagnosed with some kind of cancer, let's say skin cancer, whatever. And so this would mean that you would have a Visa card. Would you have the card with you at all times, or the card would come to you at the time of the diagnosis?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, the card comes when the terminal diagnosis is verified.
Okay.
Then that's when you get the card. And then, as I mentioned, all of the things that you want to use your coverage for, those are preloaded on the card so that when you make that Visa transaction, then it's paid for.
Okay, so if someone had, let's say I had a skin cancer, for example, and I know of a place down in Ecuador. They have this product called Cansima, And let's say that product costs, I don't know, $1,500, but it's a $25, jar of bloodroot paste that they sell for skin cancer. But let's say it's $1,500, and I wanted to use that instead of going to Gerson or something like that. So I would get the card, I would get the diagnosis, I would get the card from you, and then would I contact one of your agents and talk to them about how I want to use Cansema, or how does that work?
Okay, well, that's a great question. So basically, what you have to understand is the qualifier is you have to have a terminal diagnosis that verifies that you have 24 months or less to live.
Okay.
So we're not talking about, a terminal diagnosis that you're going to live for 20 more years. Okay, this is when, when life is on the line, right, and a person has to be proactive about, their illness. Okay. So in that instance, and skin cancer obviously is a very clear, statistically, it's definitely a killer of people. So, if we've got those other two points in place, which is the terminal diagnosis and then the time limit, for the life, and a person makes that kind of choice, then yes, then basically the card that a person has, they would have like a Visa card. They have a number, and they can, do that online transaction. Now, in the event that it's, let's say it's Ecuador, and they say, well, we don't do Visa, okay, well, then what would happen is then that the person would pay for the product, and then with the receipt, they would turn that in, and that would be reimbursed. Okay,
and so now, will the card only work for specific things? Like if the person wants to buy, let's say they want to buy a $2,500 Norwalk juicer with that card, how does that work?
That's part of the coverage. That's part of the choice. So if a person wants to buy a Norwalk press, Huron press, whatever they want to buy, yes, that's what this is. If this is their protocol, if this is what they've chosen to do, then this is what the coverage includes. Yeah.
Wow, that's really fascinating. Gosh, and do they have to get that approved, or does that just work for that?
Right. That's part of the pre-approval process. Basically, what it does, the pre-approval process is kind of like our way of helping people protect themselves from themselves. Because basically, sometimes in desperate situations, people act desperately. And so by having this pre-approval process, it's kind of a way to slow people down so that they think about what their choices are and how to use their coverage most responsibly.
Okay. And the pre-approval process, is that something that they go through on the phone or through paperwork, or how does that work?
Yeah, basically, there'll be a couple of different ways that they'll be able to do that, yeah.
Excellent.
So they can do it online, or they'll be able to do it by phone.
And I'm looking at your page that you mentioned a little while ago called Alternative Treatment Insurance Choice, and I see you have all kinds of things like the Budwig, you got the Carnivora, cesium chloride, chelation therapy. It looks like you've left no stone unturned, but yet you say that you're going to be adding more.
Right. So that is not an exhaustive list. That is just a great starting point, a jump-off list, so that just to give people the idea and understand that we're not saying that you've got three things that this will cover, like conventional health care does, and standard health insurance.
Yeah, I see you have SCACT, and I've been involved in myself in cancer and researching this stuff heavily for about 10 years, and there's a lot of things on this page that I haven't even heard of, like the Epican Forte and the... a lot of it I have, but a lot of these things I've never heard of, so this is amazing.
Right, yep. Well, that just gives people the power to have the choice, because, as I mentioned, choice is kind of like a healing modality in itself. I mean, with the holistic approach, obviously, it's about mind, body, spirit, and, person, right? So, when you get the emotions involved and you dignify people by giving them the power to make choices, that is very healing. Just that right there.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking some time off the beaches of Maui to be with us today. I appreciate that.
Yes, you're welcome. And thank you for asking. I'm so glad to be able to explain all this today. And I know that we've had a little technical difficulty, but we got through it. So thank you so much. It's been great.
Oh, we definitely got through it. And so I usually ask, at the end of the show, what the guests are going to be doing and, what upcoming projects we have. But obviously, this is your project, and you're going to be trying to roll this out, trying to get 30,000 members by 2014 and go for a launch in this coming up year.
That's right. Yep.
Great.
So everybody can help us get that done. And, this is going to be the power of the referral marketing. We all know people who all know people. And so by keeping this, we're not advertising. So we're going to keep the cost low by not, having big ad spends. And we're going to give people the power of creating the viral community effect so people can go on Facebook. We're Greensurance Financial on Facebook. We're on Google+. We are on Twitter. You can share with your friends. You can, however you want to use your social media influence, or you can just share our website, mygreensurance.com. It really doesn't matter, but we're here, and we're here to start a revolution.
I love it. Well, thank you, Kari. We'll be sharing the show with our Facebook followers and our Twitter followers and all that. So I'm really looking forward to what becomes of this, and this is something that Kate and I are going to look into and most likely sign up soon. So this is great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure today.
Okay, thanks, Kari.
Aloha.
Have a great day.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and Maggie just yawned as if she didn't care at all.
Maggie's bored.
Wow, what amazing... Sorry, for the live show listeners, we have to sign off here, but we're going to be continuing to talk. So,
and thanks for hanging with us through all that. That was awesome.
Thanks for hanging with us. And okay, so talk about an interesting lady.
My goodness.
Right? I love that. But it's interesting. Everything that she talked about had to be squared away and had to be... they have to think of every nuance and every single detail.
That was years. Years and years and years in the making. I can only imagine.
Wouldn't that be amazing to have this type of insurance coverage be an option for people?
It does seem unreal. The more she talked, the better it got.
Mm-hmm. The fact that the premiums never rise.
Yeah.
If you're 35 years old and you sign up and
you're 70 one day and you're still paying the same. It's kind of like what we've all been looking for and dreaming of, and we didn't ever think anyone would be able to create something this magnificent. And
it's great because people that sign up for this are going to be the types of people that probably most likely will never need it.
Right.
Because they're already taking care of themselves.
Probably.
Yeah.
But, none of us want a terminal diagnosis to even get to that point, but it's just a really big comfort to know it's just right there. If something does happen and life happens and even though you're proactive, you happen to get dealt a bad card anyway. So
I love the fact that it's Obamacare compliant.
Yeah, that is a blessing.
Huge. And the fact that there's 100% coverage, none of this 80-20 stuff.
Yeah, and that I still can't believe you have a choice. We've been so not given choices for so long. Anytime I realize, like she was talking about, anytime you realize you're given a choice, that's more than half the battle right there. You just can't believe that you get to choose what you want to do with it.
I know, it's crazy.
I think people that listen to their gut a lot, from the people we've had on our show that have healed themselves, they listen to their gut instinct about how to proceed with their treatments, like Tamara St. John or anyone else. Mm-hmm. And usually with these people, it heals them. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they have the means to do it with the money backing them and the mental comfort of going for that path, I think that could be a huge healer.
What a cool thing that you would just get a Visa card and they cover it. And if you need to get a Norwalk juicer, you can cover that and start juicing every day.
If you want to go get colonics every day, whatever you want to do.
That's just incredible.
That is very incredible.
Yeah, I just think, wow, what a new model. What a breath of fresh air, stuff all the current medical paradigm.
Nothing's working.
Yeah, for the current healthcare with disease and sickness. And,
right.
This is incredible.
I do agree with her that it is great to have trauma medicine and trauma doctors, and that the kind of stuff will never be replaced. But as far as this kind of coverage and this kind of need, there is nothing like it happening right now.
So you need to be diagnosed with a terminal illness with 24 months to live, right? 2 years?
I believe that's right, yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty high, too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I hear of people getting diagnosed, they have 6 months or they've got a year to live.
Right.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they give a lot of leeway on that, I think. They give you... There's a little bit more...
Wow.
I think it gives adequate time to be able to make a difference and a dent in your health.
Gosh, this is so cool. If everything works out and everything pans out according to what she said, I don't know if that will be the case, but if it does, I mean, this is just an incredible thing. And the fact that she said she's got a patent pending on this,
right?
It's pretty legit, it seems.
Yeah.
But we'll see where it is in a year or 2 years. But I like what I hear so far, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking into it. I've checked out the website a few times, but I'm going to be reading some more, and that is something I'm very interested in 2014.
I love it. All right, so thank you, everybody, for joining us. And if you have any questions about this show, it's episode number 184. So you can go and make your comments on extremehealthradio.com/184 and let me know what you think about this episode. Very curious and interesting topic, I think, and I think it's really relevant, especially in today's times with Obamacare and the fact that
a lot of things changing.
More and more people are waking up, and people are becoming sicker, and then other people are becoming healthier and waking up to health. So I think its time has come, and this is just a really, really, I think it's a great option for people.
We'll put a link to her site as well, mygreeninsurance.com.
mygreeninsurance.com, and we'll link to her Facebook and all that stuff. So that will all be at episode number 184. And if you guys could, please pass this show on to your friends. Please pass it on to people who you think might be holistically minded or people who are interested in their own health journey. Because most people wouldn't be interested because they wouldn't even see the value of holistic and natural cures. But there are more and more people waking up, like I said. So if you know of anyone who might benefit from this show, please pass it on to them. I think it would be very, very beneficial for them and possibly life-changing too. So I think that's about it, right?
That's about it.
That's about it. All right, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information on this podcast or in this blog, or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional.